Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star 2, Land of Origin based on novel. So let's start. Lord Luo, he of the River God. The super-large Legion mechanical treasure observed the inconspicuous small cave mansion with a bit of wariness. Uncle Master, the sect leader, has long since ordered that Lord Luo his cave mansion must not be touched, a disciple said. I know. Though the Heart Shadow sect's army seemed to march with unstoppable force, wantonly seizing one cave mansion after another. Before they left the Sha Kingdom, they had thoroughly investigated the details of Huyang City. They were crystal clear about the owner of every cave mansion in the Primal Chaos Armor sector. Cave Mansion number 913 of the Primal Chaos Armor had long been marked on their list as one not to be seized. I am the Cloud Treasure Pavilion Master of the Huyang City branch. You want to seize my cave mansion? The Cloud Treasure Pavilion Master, with a huge solitary eye, rebuked the disciples of the Heart Shadow sect who descended upon the place. A super-large mechanical treasure patrolling high in the sky immediately turned its attention towards him, and a cold voice rang out, Cloud Treasure Pavilion Master of the Huyang City branch. If you don't want to die, scram quickly. The Cloud Treasure Pavilion Master looked up, locked eyes with the super-large mechanical treasure, and involuntarily trembled, only to reluctantly lower his head. Fine, I'll move. With a wave of his hand, he quickly gathered some commonly used items from within the cave mansion, and took 2 old servants with him before leaving indifferently. The rest of his subordinates were also scared and quickly fled the cave mansion. I am Vice Chairman Cho Shisan of the Chien Cha Commerce Association's Huyang City branch. A stern-looking elder surveyed his surroundings. Are you even going to seize my cave mansion? Vice Chairman Cho. A super-large plant life form slowly descended, its voice much gentler. Please don't make it difficult for us. If you continue to live here, once war breaks out, you will also be easily affected, don't you agree? The stern-looking elder eyed the other party. In terms of background, within Huyang City, the only one that surpassed Chien Cha Commerce Association was the exceedingly aloof Flame Wind Pavilion. We will not disrupt the business of the Chien Cha Commerce Association, but your eternal true gods at the Chien Cha Commerce Association should not get involved in this war either, the super-large plant life form continued to persuade patiently. The stern-looking elder understood that if the branch of the Commerce Association were to be destroyed, headquarters might be enraged. But the seizure of cave mansions belonging to their eternal true gods would be considered trivial, not even worthy of being reported to headquarters. The Chien Cha Commerce Association's business spreads across numerous kingdoms. A branch in a large city is very inconspicuous. Moreover, the godly kings backing the Chien Cha Commerce Association were also unwilling to get involved in the dispute between the Sha Kingdom and Yu Kingdom easily. Fine, I'll move, the stern-looking elder could only swallow his pride. Luo Feng, carrying Morosa and Moyu Qingyang, quickly returned to his cave mansion. Wow, it's quite lively here. Morosa stood atop the mountain, looking around at the surroundings, and with his strength, he could naturally see every cave mansion in the Primal Chaos Armor sector, without being affected by the grand array of Huyang City. Heart Shadow sect is frantically seizing cave mansions. Luo Feng was also at the mountaintop with the leisure to look around, whether it's the local families, dark forces, or the divisions of major powers with a background. All the cave mansions in the Primal Chaos Armor sector have been taken. Master, they haven't taken our cave mansion. Moyu Qingyang noted the massive flying boat and the super-large mechanical treasures in the distance, feeling quite tense. Morosa curled his lips. Don't be impressed by their bluster. They are actually quite smart to know who not to provoke. Don't boast. Heart Shadow sect is not an easy rival, Luo Feng said with a smile. The conflict between Marquis Liu Yin and Marquis of Zhujiang. There was no need for him to get involved. To him, growth was of the utmost importance. The three most ancient masters of the Sha kingdom were his true enemies. Brother Luo He. The Lord of Huyang City contacted Luo Feng using the transmission token. City Lord, you're contacting me for a matter. Luo Feng took out the transmission token with a flip of his hand. Brother Luo He must have seen it too, the sudden arrival of Heart Shadow sect in Huyang City. They are too strong, and my city owner's mansion can't withstand them, the Lord of Huyang City communicated. The Marquis will soon dispatch reinforcements, but what's imperative now is to defend the city owner's mansion. The city owner's mansion is the core of the entire Huyang City. The three forbidden lands are critical, as they are tied to the grand array of Huyang City. But the city owner's mansion is truly the core of the supergigantic mechanical city of Huyang, and can unleash terrifying power. Even if the Heart Shadow sect, with such strength, were to forcefully attack the city owner's mansion, it would result in some casualties. City Lord, with my lone power, how could I possibly resist a vast sect like Heart Shadow sect? Luo Feng communicated back. I'm not strong enough. No eternal true God in Yu Kingdom has the power to resist the entire Heart Shadow sect alone. But if you come to the city owner's mansion, with your help, we will definitely be able to hold the city owner's mansion securely, the Lord of Huyang City communicated. To hide with you in the city owner's mansion. Luo Feng communicated. I'm just an independent eternal true God, really unwilling to get completely entangled in this. As an eternal true God, if I get involved in the strife between Marquis Liu Yin and Marquis of Zhujiang, who knows when I might die? You need not worry, the primal chaos overlord will not bully the weak during the conflict between two countries, the Lord of Huyang City communicated. As long as you are willing to help, any condition can be discussed. Any condition can be discussed. Luo Feng asked, how about 1 billion cosmic sand? Name your price to hire me, and I'm naturally willing to help. 1 billion cosmic sand. The Lord of Huyang City was somewhat startled. This Lord Luo He was truly audacious. Such a vast fortune would surely make the primal chaos overlord flinch. Despite having a territory that ensured a steady income, the primal chaos overlord also needed to maintain a large number of subordinates, nurture the younger members of his clan, and spend on personal cultivation. They generally would not keep an excessive reserve of assets. It was fundamental to expend savings on enhancing one's own strength. Being able to carry several billion cosmic sand was already quite good. Some primal chaos overlords who lived hand to mouth, spending nearly all their income, would struggle to immediately produce even 1 billion cosmic sand. This price is not at all expensive, Luo Feng stated. I must report to the Marquis first. The Lord of Huyang City dared not agree on his own. The previous bounty for Divine Monarch Shuiyun was just 10 million cosmic sand. 30 to 50 million cosmic sand was enough to summon the strongest eternal true gods of the Yu Kingdom to join the battle, which was the normal going rate. Of course, it also depended on whether the other party had enough time and was willing to come. You go report to the Marquis first, Luo Feng said, then cut off the transmission. This price isn't high at all. My strength could be even stronger than the strongest eternal true gods of the Yu Kingdom, Luo Feng mused quietly. Of course, it was only slightly stronger. Although he possessed a perfect divine body, Luo Feng only planned to exert the strength close to the limit of the unlimited godly body. This conformed to normal logic. After all, there had been no cultivators with a perfect divine body in the land of origin before. If the strength he revealed totally exceeded the eternal true God domain, much stronger than the prodigies from the two great ancient countries, it would likely raise suspicions among some ancient beings. Search * the novel fire.ne * t website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. My strength must appear normal. It must align with logical normalcy, Luo Feng cautioned himself. He bore the hope of revenge from his mentor, the mountain-sitting guest, and carried the future of the human race. Inside his small universe alone, countless humans lived and procreated. He had to be careful, never careless with each step. Master, nearly all the cave mansions around have been taken over, Moroso observed the surroundings. Only the 5 great families' mansions and the Masters remain. The Heart Shadow sect does act quite domineeringly. Marquis of Zhujiang won't just stand by and watch, Luo Feng said. In the original mansion of the Zhu clan, this location served as a temporary gathering place for the higher-ups of the Heart Shadow sect. The sect leader and the 18 elders congregated here. Sect leader, in the Primal Chaos Armor sector, only the mansions of the 5 great families and the small mansion of Lord Luo He remain, one elder spoke. Should we make a move on the mansions of the 5 great families? There's no hurry. The man with 3 eyes surveyed the elders. Right now we need to first appease the 2 major threats within Huyang City. One is the Flame Wind Pavilion, and the other is Lord Luo He. The 18 elders all listened. The Flame Wind Pavilion is established by a coalition of the strongest forces of the Flame Wind ancient country. No matter how the war unfolds, we must maintain respect for the Flame Wind Pavilion. We cannot give them any reason to intervene, the 3-eyed man said. Understood. We would be insane to provoke the Flame Wind Pavilion. All of the 18 elders were well aware that although the Flame Wind Pavilion did not interfere in the conflicts of other nations, it also did not tolerate provocation. Those who dared to provoke would face consequences far more terrible than provoking the great Saint Zhu. Having affronted great Saint Zhu before, Heart Shadow sect saw 3 of its Primal Chaos Realm members, 1 dead, 2 fled, and the sect declined. Provoking the Flame Wind Pavilion would leave no escape. The master of the Sha Kingdom might personally take action, capturing them alive to present to the Flame Wind Pavilion for disposal. I will personally visit the Flame Wind Pavilion, the 3-eyed man declared. The Flame Wind Pavilion has the most terrifying background within the city, and the strongest within the city is Lord Luo He. According to the plan, Elder Hearteye will visit. Leave it to me, Elder Blind said calmly. Just as deep in their respective realms, Elder Blind's numerous inheritances was certainly much stronger than those of Divine Monarch Shuiyun. Remember, do not make enemies, the 3-eyed man instructed Elder Blind. Don't worry, I know what to do, Elder Blind nodded. There was no choice. The other elders among the 18 elders simply didn't dare to visit Lord Luo He. They feared that a disagreement might lead to being killed by Lord Luo He. If they merely sent a divine power incarnation for the visit, it would seem disrespectful. Thus, sending Elder Hearteye was the most appropriate. When Heart Shadow sect was at its peak, ruling over 3 primal chaos prefectures, Elder Hearteye was the most powerful eternal true god. After the decline of the sect, Elder Hearteye traveled and cultivated throughout the land of origin up to the present, accumulating even greater depth. Soon, Elder Blind, accompanied by 2 disciples, made a secret visit to the exterior of Luo Feng's cave mansion. Primal Chaos Armor Sector 913. Elder Blind looked at the mansion. 1 disciple beside him knocked on the door. As the knock resounded, an invisible fluctuation spread outward, and the disciple also spoke up, representative of the Heart Shadow sect, Elder Hearteye, has come to visit Lord Luo He. The door quickly opened. Moyu Qingyang smiled, my master has been awaiting you. Elder Blind looked up, sensing the terrifying presence not far from the mountain peak. Indeed, an unlimited godly body, Elder Blind could feel the immense and boundless aura, as if it were never-ending. Every time he faced an unlimited godly body, Elder Blind's emotions were complex. Coming from humble origins, he began his cultivation path through bloodline methods. Even though he later showed dazzling talent, his godly body was no match for the unlimited godly body. Even with Heart Shadow Sect's nurturing and biased allocation of resources, and his bloodline becoming sufficiently mighty, it was still a notch below the unlimited godly body. It was quite rare for individuals like Yu Qianshu, who had bloodline-based godly bodies, to be comparable to unlimited godly bodies. What of the unlimited godly body? More than one with such a body has fallen to my hand. Elder Blind took a stride and, whoosh, was already at the mountain peak, with his 2 disciples swiftly following. Luo Feng sat in front of the pavilion at the mountain's summit, leisurely drinking, watching as a blind man with 2 disciples approached. Luo Feng could sense that the blind man's aura was restrained, the hidden boundless sharpness somewhat startling Luo Feng. His hidden boundless sharpness actually threatens my realm of life and death. The realm of life and death was Luo Feng's combination of 3 moves from his pathway of life and death in the primal chaos realm, forming an invisible domain. Elder Heart Eye, honored to meet Lord Luo He, Elder Blind spoke, his 2 disciples respectfully following suit. I have long heard of Elder Heart Eye's great name. Please have a seat, Luo Feng said with a smile. Qingyang, serve the wine. Elder Blind sat down, while his 2 disciples stood behind him. Moyu Qingyang personally served up fruit and fine wine. Please, Luo Feng said, holding up his wine glass. Elder Blind also poured himself a drink. For powerful cultivators, eyes could be trained to be very strong, but even blindness wouldn't affect their observation of their surroundings. Indeed, many cultivators do not even have eyes in their godly bodies or gaseous or liquid forms. Please, Elder Blind also raised his glass, and after drinking a cup, he smiled and said, before coming to Huyang City, I had already heard of the great name of Lord Luo He. General Yong Hu of Yu Kingdom's capital relied on the Huyang city's formation, and still couldn't hold divine monarch Shuiyun. But Lord Luo He, you managed to slay Yu Qianshu, Yu Qianyi, and the escaping divine monarch Shuiyun outside the city, all in one single night. Your strength is indeed above that of General Yong Hu. General Yong Hu was only concerned about the civilians within the city and afraid of causing too many casualties, which is why he let Shuiyun escape, Luo Feng said. The battle between Yong Hu and Shuiyun at the Flame Wind Pavilion is available for sale to the public, Elder Blind said. Anyone can see that Shuiyun's strength is profoundly unfathomable, which makes us at Heart Shadow Sect admire Lord Luo He even more. The sect leader had already ordered that upon coming to Huyang City, we must not offend the Lord. The sect leader is too kind, Luo Feng said with a smile. Moyu Qingyang, who was standing by serving, pricked up his ears to listen carefully. Not offend the master. The Heart Shadow Sect surely fears the master. This time Heart Shadow Sect came to Huyang City to seek a place to survive. Elder Blind sighed. For a sect to survive, it's very difficult. Luo Feng was listening. For survival, our disciples of the Heart Shadow Sect are willing to spare no expense, Elder Blind said. I hope the Lord can understand the Heart Shadow Sect and not interfere with the matters here. Ha ha, Luo Feng laughed. I'm not an official of Yu Kingdom, nor am I from Yosha Kingdom. I'm just an independent cultivator. As to whom I help, alas, we independent cultivators are all desperately fighting for resources. If there are enough resources to hire me, how could I refuse? Luo Feng understood what the other party meant. They hoped for Luo Feng's commitment not to interfere in the conflict in Huyang City. Enough resources to hire? Elder Blind asked. How much would it take to hire Lord Luo He? I treat all equally. Yu Kingdom has already given me quite a bit, and I haven't even agreed to help them, Luo Feng said. If Heart Shadow Sect wants to hire me, 2 billion cosmic sand will suffice. 2 billion cosmic sand. Elder Blind's face twitched. That's a bold price. Watching from the side, Luo Feng remembered that the monarch of Yu country had gifted him a leaf from the Void Proliferation Mother Tree, and Marquis of Zhejiang, had also presented him with 10 million cosmic sand as a token of gratitude. That was all about relationships. Giving a quote of 1 billion cosmic sand to Yu Kingdom was a friendly price. Offering 2 billion cosmic sand to Heart Shadow Sect was also justified. If Heart Shadow Sect agreed to such a high price, and the news spread, Yu Kingdom would have nothing to say. After all, Luo Feng was giving them a half-price deal. I'm just an independent cultivator. Whoever gives the resources, I help them. I believe Elder Heart Eye can understand. Luo Feng looked at the other party. The conversation between Luo Feng and Elder Blind made the two disciples behind Elder Blind and Moyu Qingyang tremble with the thought of 2 billion cosmic sand. What a colossal fortune that was. Understood, even for disciples of our sect, obtaining resources is not easy, Elder Blind said. I have traveled the world challenging many mighty ones. With such strength as yours, I wonder if we could have a sparring match. A sparring match? Luo Feng nodded, sure. Elder Blind sensed the confidence in the other party, and immediately nodded. I'll arrange a more spacious place. Let's just do it in my cave dwelling, Luo Feng said. It's just a sparring match, this place is big enough. I'm afraid that might damage your cave dwelling, Elder Blind added. No need to compensate if it gets damaged, Luo Feng said with a smile as he got up. The Lord is truly magnanimous. Elder Blind also stood up, and his two disciples and Moyu Qingyang at the side all became somewhat nervous. In an open area of Luo Feng's cave dwelling, Luo Feng and Elder Blind stood opposite each other at a distance. Morosa, Moyu Qingyang, and the two disciples of Heart Shadow Sect watched from the corners of the cave dwelling. Please, Luo Feng said with a smile, looking at the opponent. Elder Blind flipped his hand, and a black spike appeared. At first glance, the black spike looked quite ordinary, with a subdued luster, and no secret patterns could be seen. Since it was just a sparring match, neither side was burning their divine power, and their auras were very restrained. This Lord Luo, he still wants to waver between the two forces, asking for 2 billion cosmic sand right off the bat. If he realizes the gap in our strength, he will be much more compliant, Elder Blind thought to himself. Be careful, Lord, Elder Blind said, as he thrust the black spike forward. With that thrust, he activated the realm of life and death that was already spread around them. Luo Feng's realm of life and death enveloped the entire cave dwelling, and as Elder Blind thrust his spike, the realm heavily obstructed his attack. The realm of life and death, a combination of 3 primal chaos realm techniques, appeared like a vast Tai Chi cloud formation upon manifestation, its rotation far more powerful than that of pure control primal chaos. Rip! Elder Blind's thrust forcibly penetrated the realm of life and death, tearing through it and sending shockwaves rolling, with the spike already reaching Luo Feng's robe. Luo Feng still stood unmoved, his robe surface displaying a layer of murky protecting robe, a synergy of the realm of life and death condensed with 2 techniques from the law of primal chaos. These 5 techniques combined to form the chaotic protective robe. Though not as intricate as Divine Monarch Shui Yun's creation of the Blood Cloud Great Array from 9 techniques. But the realm of life and death, the chaotic protective robe, were just some of the techniques Luo Feng had managed to comprehend in the span of the 5 eras. Puff! The thrust, surprisingly, penetrated the murky protective robe on Luo Feng's skin. His skin, refined 3 times to achieve the perfect divine body, was finally pierced, showing a speck of blood. Elder Blind retreated instantly, somewhat in disbelief. Amazing, amazing. With just a casual stab, Elder Heart Eye managed to break through my domain and protective robe, even wounding me, Luo Feng exclaimed. Elder Blind felt the pressure. I have cultivated the Godly King level inheritance 6 extremes of destruction, which utilizes 7 primal chaos realm techniques. According to the inheritance, only after a complete integration can this stab be formed. Elder Blind was shocked internally. I have encountered those with unlimited godly bodies before, and this stab would have seriously wounded them. But facing Lord Luo He, it barely broke the skin. What seemed like a normal stab was indeed one of Elder Blind's lethal moves, famous in many regions. Divine Monarch, please try this move of mine, Elder Blind said, and right after speaking, his figure blurred in an instant. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. In a blink, he split into 13 figures, each making a strike, each seeming terrifyingly powerful, but when the 13 strikes merged, that's when the power truly shook the heavens and the earth. Boom tilde tilde tilde, this congealed black strike surprised even Luo Feng, indeed a disciple of a godly king sect. The technique is truly profound, forming a formation from numerous techniques, to converge into a single, powerful strike. Relying on just a protective robe to withstand it isn't enough. I need to show some real skills now. Faced with this earth-shattering strike, Luo Feng extended his left hand. Boom. His arm expanded rapidly, and his palm grew even larger, as though covering the sky, with each of Luo Feng's 5 fingers containing dual-colored vortices, the entire palm like a chaotic universe. Boom tilde tilde tilde. The frightening strike collided with Luo Feng's palm, their forces annihilating and mercilessly grinding against each other. One side is godly king-level techniques recorded in the inheritance. The disciples merely need to cultivate step by step to continuously build their foundations and draw closer to the primal chaos realm. The other side, however, directly encountered the great Tao of life origin and the mysteries of destruction's origin, fusing both and integrating the understanding of primal chaos. This was also one of Luo Feng's 6 major killing techniques, the 10 Directions Annihilation Palm. If the world-breaking 9 blades of the past was purely for defense, then this 10 Directions Annihilation Palm was for offense, and it involved combining 10 primal chaos realm techniques into one strike executed with a hand that had undergone 3 body refinements to attain a perfect divine body. One of Luo Feng's true killing techniques. Luo Feng still had to hold back his strength, too much, and it would exceed the eternal true God domain. Luo Feng had long set standards for himself, not needing to hide his realm's accumulation, since the outside world already considered him very close to the primal chaos realm. Still, the power of the perfect godly body needed to be restrained. Even reined into the strength of an unlimited godly body, he was still suppressing Elder Blind. The 10 Directions Annihilation Palm, despite merging 10 techniques still being somewhat rough, was no less formidable than Elder Blind's killing formation. Boom tilde tilde tilde. That dreadful strike, under the crush of Luo Feng's massive palm, ultimately shattered and was completely obliterated. This scene shocked Elder Blind. This Luo, he is an unlimited godly body of the law lineage. And his realm's accumulation even surpasses mine. Elder Blind confirmed this instantly. If he were part of the bloodline cultivation system, such accumulation might have already led him to the primal chaos realm. Elder Heart Eye's formation technique is quite powerful, Luo Feng praised. I was even forced to use my ultimate technique. Elder Heart Eye, do you have any more moves? No need to continue comparing. I'm indeed inferior to Lord Luo He, Elder Blind spoke. This sparring truly broadened my horizons. Lord Luo He, I shall take my leave first. And I will relay the hiring price you mentioned to the sect leader. All right, Luo Feng nodded with a smile. Elder Blind turned and swiftly left with 2 disciples. This battle had kept the cave dwelling encapsulated by the realm of life and death, and since Elder Blind had not burned his divine power, and had intentionally restricted the range, the cave mansion was still in relatively good condition. Only the empty space where the fight took place had pits and uneven ground. Sigh. With a thought, the ground quickly repaired itself. Master, this Elder Heart Eye is quite strong, Morosa spoke, should be somewhat stronger than Shuiyun. Shuiyun's formations are rather rough, whereas Elder Hartai's moves are more naturally powerful and superior. Luo Feng nodded, unmistakably a godly king tier sect. Although he himself had inheritances from 2 godly king lineages. Unfortunately, his master, Mountain Sitting Guest, was an artifact refining godly king, and did not leave him any suitable godly king inheritances. The 3rd generation forefather of the Duan Dong River lineage did leave behind 3 supportive godly king level inheritances, Duan Mie, Dong Hua, and Undying River. No way around it. Both his master and the 3rd generation forefather had just stepped into the godly king tier. This is why they met such fates, one fleeing into the universe ocean, the other dying completely. Power is the foundation. Elder Hartai, how did it go with your visit to Lord Luo He? Asked the master of the Heart Shadow sect, who had just returned from visiting the Flame Wind Pavilion. I heard that you sparred with him. I asked him not to interfere, and he asked for a hiring price of 2 billion cosmic sand. Elder Blind frowned as he spoke. So we had to go with the backup plan, sparring to put some pressure on him. But in this exchange, his godly body is stronger than mine, and even his realm is stronger. Master Feng Yuqi of the Heart Shadow sect couldn't help saying, both of our forefathers said that with your deep accumulation, Elder Hartai, just a little chance could lead to a breakthrough. His realm is actually higher than yours. While it's somewhat higher, ultimately, it's within the same tier, said Elder Blind. Once I command the disciples and wield the mechanical flow secret treasure Heart Devil Kite, I can match that Luo He. Sir, the novel, F.I..et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Originally, the Divine Monarch who established the Heart Shadow sect crafted 13 mechanical flow secret treasures, according to their inheritances, to serve as hereditary treasures of the sect. But over the long years, only 7 of these mechanical heritage secret treasures remain, with the Heart Devil Kite being one of them. A Divine Monarch establishing a sect left many means behind. But with continual decline, the Heart Shadow sect's methods are becoming fewer. This was just a spar. I didn't use my secret technique of willpower shadowless stab, which is my strongest move. Elder Blind said, once it's used, it's no longer a spar, but a fight for life and death. This video will end here.